Welcome back to Head Office, the podcast where we talk all things brains and business. I'm your host, Jackie Elsom, and I'm so excited that you're here with me today. Last week, I shared with you my mission to tell 100,000 business owners that they don't have to believe every story their brain offers them. If we can learn to recognize those stories, we can stop letting them help us make our business decisions. Today's episode ties right into that. But before we dive in, I have something I want to share with you. On September 1st, we're hosting a mission party book release right here in Vancouver, Washington. I'd love to have you join us. We'll be celebrating the release of my new book, Mind Your Business, and officially unveiling the mission, along with the unique way we're going to keep track of the count of the 100,000 business owners that we reach. It's going to be an evening of celebration, inspiration, and the beginning of something much bigger than a book. I can't wait to share it with you. Now let's talk about one of the biggest ways our brain keeps us from moving forward, long before we even realize what is happening. It's not the money. It's not the economy. It's not the competition. It's opportunity. But here's a twist. Most of the opportunities we miss aren't because someone else took it. They disappear because our brain is quietly convincing us that there was no opportunity in the first place. Crazy, huh? Most of us never even recognize it happens. So let's talk about why. Your brain has one primary job. I know I've shared before, but I'm going to keep saying it. It is to keep you safe. Now, notice I didn't say it was to help you build a successful business or to help you become wealthy, along with reaching your potential. Not with your brain. Safety comes first. Now, that worked thousands of years ago when there was real danger everywhere. But today, your brain treats emotional discomfort the same way it once treated a tiger. If there is something that is uncertain, something that you are afraid that you're going to fail, something that may cause you embarrassment, or you think people are going to reject you, your brain immediately begins to send warnings. Not because it's trying to hurt you, but because it's trying to protect you. Now, this is where it gets sneaky, because your brain almost never says, "Hey, I'm scared." Now, it isn't the right time for you to be doing this. That's what it'll tell you. Or maybe you've heard something like, "I should wait until I know more." How about "I'm not ready yet"? Someone else is already doing what I have in mind. Nobody's going to pay for what I do. Or maybe next year. That's always a good one for me. Now, notice how reasonable all that sounds. That's because your brain doesn't lie poorly. It lies logically. It creates stories that sound intelligent enough for you to believe. That's why they're lies. They're not facts. And you stop questioning them. People often think they miss opportunities because they made one bad decision. Usually that's not true. It's dozens of tiny moments. Have you ever heard that before? You think about making a phone call, but you don't. You almost send the email, and then you put it in draft. Think about raising your prices, and then you convince yourself, My customers can't afford this. You consider speaking on stage and then remember, I'm not a speaker. Every single one feels insignificant until one day you realize that you've spent years standing in the exact same spot. Not because you couldn't move, but because your brain was talking you out of moving. Here's something I wish every business owner could understand. Opportunity rarely feels exciting at first. In fact, it's the complete opposite. It feels scary and uncomfortable. But think about the breakthroughs that you've had when you started your business or launched something new. Maybe spoke in public for the first time. If you waited until you felt safe, those probably wouldn't have happened. We tend to believe that confidence comes first, but confidence doesn't come first. It comes after action, not before it. Our brains are predicting machines, and it loves patterns. It also loves certainty. Even if your current situation isn't perfect, at least it's ideal. And familiar often feels safer than better. That's why people stay in businesses they hate, or they keep the pricing that doesn't work. Because uncertainty feels dangerous, and where we're at feels familiar. Your brain will say, at least we know what's happening here. The unknown, that's really risky, even if it's exactly where our next level is waiting for us. When I hear myself thinking, I don't know if this is a good idea, I've learned to stop, not because I'm ignoring my brain, but I've learned to question it. Instead of asking, what if this doesn't work? I'll ask it, what if it does work? Instead of, what if people judge me? I'll ask, what if there's just one person that needs to hear exactly what I have to say? One question can keep me trapped. The other can create a possibility. And here's something else that we rarely calculate. We can measure the cost of action, but we almost never take a look at the cost of inaction. What is the cost of waiting for another year? What's the cost of never making that call? Of never launching something new? Never asking for a sale? Sometimes the risk is bigger, and we pretend to avoid the risk. Because standing still is a price too. You just don't get an invoice for it for years later. I want to give you something practical the next time you're excited about an idea. Pay attention to what happens in the next few minutes. Listen carefully. What stories start showing up immediately? I need to research this more. I should probably wait. I don't know if I have enough followers. I'm too old. I'm too young. I've never done this before. Those thoughts aren't proof. They are predictions. And predictions aren't facts. They are simply our brain's way of trying to reduce that uncertainty. You have a choice. You can believe the stories or you can choose differently. Sometimes that's really hard to do. I will be the first to admit that. But the benefits of doing that so outweigh the uncertainty that we're heading into. One of the biggest lessons I've learned is that your brain is an incredible advisor, but it makes a terrible CEO. It really does deserve a seat at the table, but it doesn't get the final vote. Because if you let fear disguise itself as logic in every decision, that's going to keep you from making decisions that will help your business grow. So here's my challenge to you this week. Pay attention. Notice when your brain immediately starts talking you out of something. Then start asking one simple question. Is this actually dangerous? Or is it just unfamiliar? An opportunity is waiting for you. Maybe it's waiting on the other side of the story your brain is making up. Thanks for joining me on Head Office again this week. If this episode has made you think differently, or you want to share it with another business owner who'd love to hear it, please feel free to do that. Also, if you want to join in on the journey of 100,000 business owners, please head to Jackie Elsom. That's Jackie with no E, elsom.com, and join in on the journey. Remember, there's a gap between what you're thinking and what you're doing, and my mission is to help you close that gap. So until next week, mind your business by first minding your brain.